Patriots Pregame Show is presented by Dunkin'. You just got a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich, hash browns, and a coffee for $6. Order now only at Dunkin'. Participation in times may vary. Prices vary in California and Hawaii. This is a limited time offer. This is the Patriots Pregame Show fueled by Dunkin'.
Throws it to the left for Hunter Henry. He's open to the far sideline, and he slides inbounds at the 40. Game, set, match.
The Patriots Pregame Show is your source for all the latest news and information before every game.
Throws it to the near side, caught by Diggs. Rolling after the catch at the 45.
That's how you bounce back.
Patriots Nation, welcome to the Patriots Pregame Show fueled by Dunkin'.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Patriots Pregame Show fueled by Dunkin'. Your usual crew is here, Paul Perillo, Mike Dussault, and myself, Kwani Lunis. We're excited. It's week 10. Who would have thought of the NFL season, and the Patriots looking to keep the wins rolling as they already are in Tampa Bay right now. So what are you two expecting from this game?
Well, it's, I think, an interesting challenge this week. No Ramondre Stevenson for second week in a row, and now you have Kayshon Boutte out as well. So some challenges around Drake May. I'd like to see him, kind of regain the stride that he had in the first half last week against the Falcons. Felt like he got off kilter a little bit there and struggled to get back on track. So, I think the Patriots need him. And, of course, on the midst of an incredible season, hopefully he can get back on track. But a tough challenge today. Good Bucs defense, a lot of experience there. But that's what I'm watching today. Let's get Drake back and rolling.
Yeah, and the protection specifically. And I know a lot of people have talked about how many of these sacks have been on Drake May. Drake May himself is sort of taking responsibility, which I think is another really positive sign of your quarterback being the leader that he needs to be. He's trying to deflect any attention off that offensive line and put it on himself, which I think is a good thing. But what I'm really interested in is I think so much of their success offensively, guys, has been a result of Drake May being able to hold the ball and extend some of these plays and make off-platform throws. There's a fine line there. I know Josh McDaniels is searching for it. I know Drake May is searching for it. I hope that the offense doesn't take a hit as a result of trying to drop the number of sacks a little bit. So, I think it comes with experience. I think Drake will learn it, and so far, every test that he's needed to pass along the way this season, he's been able to do. So I'd be curious to see if he can do that again today.
Yeah, a little bit of long line of what Josh McDaniels said this week of, you don't want to restrict him. You want him to make plays and to be comfortable, doing the magic that makes Drake special. But at the same time, I think when we really saw him at his absolute peak of, over the last few weeks, it's been staying in the pocket, making a subtle move, delivering the ball to a second, third option. And as we talked about this week on Patriots Unfiltered, I think last week he got a little bit sped up, a little bit away from that. More, no, it's not there, I'm going to tuck and run. So, it's a great challenge because not only are the Bucs defense experienced and, throw a lot at you, there's not a lot of keys to key off of with this defense. He's also got to do it without Boutte, who has been, not a high-volume receiver, but has come through with some really big catches that have changed the complexion of games. And, we talked about it so much, Paul, over the last few weeks of big part of this win streak is the big plays, the plays down the field that offset some of the mistakes. Are they still going to have that without Boutte?
Offsetting the sacks. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So everybody looks and they say 6 sacks, and I'm not suggesting this is ideal to be sacked 6 times, but if you're taking a couple of sacks here and there, but you're able to also hold the ball a little longer and get a 40-yard completion to Demario Douglas, because on the one time that you held it, they didn't get to the sack. That's been a big part, I think, of their success offensively. And I think that is something that I don't want to lose from the offense. I don't know how much they can just sort of line up and play traditionally. They've had some plays, like the 39-yard touchdown to Boutte against Cleveland in the second half was beautiful pocket, right? Just gets on his back foot, throw is up, bang, touchdown. So I'm not suggesting they haven't had any conventional offense this year. They've had plenty of it, but a lot of those explosive plays come when Drake May is moving around, buying time, extending plays, and the receivers are adjusting accordingly downfield. I don't want to lose that element of the offense. I think that's been a big part of the success.
Just to piggyback on that, we've been talking all season about Kyle Williams, been waiting in the wings, going back, I think, till week 1, where people will go back and look at his 5 snaps and be like, there's some separation in there. You get him under the microscope trying to, find if there's something there. And I do think that he has that burst, but you've been seeing some of the missing chemistry between him and Drake May, which I don't think is uncommon. I mean, this is a younger guy who's not getting the volume of reps that any of the other receivers have gotten, but you might look at this game today without Kayshon Boutte as an opportunity for Kyle Lunis, play on the outside a little bit. Paul said it numerous times that there's been various times you've seen Drake look his way, doesn't quite look right. It seems like, hey, he wanted you to stop or he wanted you to go. Ball's going this way, the receiver's going the other way. So I think Kyle Williams definitely a guy to keep an eye on today.
Yeah, to your point, we mentioned Boutte being out with that hamstring that's still aggravating him. But in the run game, who do you foresee as the number one target today?
Well, I think I like the way you put it, number one target, because look, and I Patriots are not the Detroit Lions for sure, but we saw a little something with Travion Henderson last week. Over the last few weeks, we've seen a little bit from Travion getting in space, attacking the edges of a defense. And when you look at that game against Detroit, they really had a good time with Jahmyr Gibbs getting him in space. I don't know if the Patriots are able to reproduce that, but it's hard to say let's run right up the middle at Vita Vea, who's just an absolute monster in the middle of that defense. So I think it's one of those weeks where you don't have Ramondre Stevenson. You got to figure out how to piece it together without him. But getting Travion Henderson out in space, screen game, using him more as a receiver to attack the perimeter of this defense, I think that could be a successful way to go about it.
And even if you're going to run the ball, that's how you want to run, because you don't want to test him inside. You don't want to go at Vea. So this might be one of those deals. Yeah, it's not ideal to be missing Ramondre Stevenson, but this game really doesn't line up for his strengths anyway. I think your point, Mike, about getting Henderson off the edges the way they did against, say, Cleveland a couple of weeks ago, might be the better way to go about things.
Yeah, sure.
All right, well, no need to wait. There's so many things that they're going to need to do to win this game. So let's get into the keys of the game.
You've waited all week for it.
The whole team's in the locker room right now just listening to this, waiting to hear what you're going to say.
Here are this week's keys to the game.
Alrighty, who's up first?
I'll start us off. So mine's a little bit defensive focused, and I don't want to.
Are you a defensive guy, Mike?
I'm a defensive guy, but I also try to balance the keys out so we're not all saying the same thing, because I think a lot of times we have, especially Paul and I, we talk all week about this, and sometimes we have the same.
He doesn't want to get accused of stealing your key.
So I like to round it out. But this week, I'd like to see a little bit more man defense from the Patriots defense. I think that's what we all thought it was going to be when Carlton Davis signed here. You have Christian Gonzalez, Marcus Jones, AFC Defensive Player of the Month back, in November. So the Patriots have to figure out a way to challenge some of these quick throws. I think quarterbacks are completing a lot of passes on them. You look at the overall stats that I like to keep track of, pressure rate, all that kind of stuff. And, the Patriots defense looked pretty good. But I think that there is some room in the margins for them to improve and put a little bit more pressure on offenses, especially Baker Mayfield, who's such a difficult player, especially, on third down. He makes plays on the run. He can throw it late in the down. So I think the Patriots, I'd love to see them just really lean into their cornerback coverage with those top three corners that they have. Tampa Bay is very banged up at wide receiver. You have to respect Ibuka at the top of that list. But overall, I think the Patriots have the horses this week to really play a heavy dose of man defense, which they really haven't done over the past few weeks. Might be fed into playing a lot of young quarterbacks. This isn't a young quarterback. This is Baker Mayfield. He knows how to win. So I'd like to see more aggressive in the coverage this week, man defense up.
So I think that's a great one, and I think we talked a little bit when I did my pregame hit on the Sports Hub about Ibuka and Christian Gonzalez, possibly, lining up and matching up today. That would lend itself to what you're saying, Mike, is maybe get a little more aggressive with your coverage and go man. And, I do worry a little bit about Baker Mayfield, doing that, because I think that, he's not a great runner. He's a great sort of gamer.
Scrambler?
Yeah, he's a good scrambler. He's not a great athlete, but he maximizes his ability in those situations, and he has success in them. But I like Mike's key. For me, this is going to come on the other side of the ball. Again, Mike and I talk.
Yeah, right.
So I think this is an opportunity for Drake to, as I said earlier, usually this season when there's been something that's been an issue, maybe he's, first game of the year, well, it didn't seem like he was running with conviction. He wasn't making decisions. He was kind of tentative. The next week, that's all gone against Miami. And then it's like, well, I'd like to see him maybe, stay in the pocket a little bit longer. And we've seen every step along the way, he's been able to adjust and address, quote unquote, the issues. This is another opportunity. You've been sacked 6 times each of the last 2 games. By all accounts, including his own, some of them have been on him. So I assume he's going to he's going to correct some of that stuff. Had a tough second half against Atlanta. I expect him to bounce back and outplay Mayfield. That's why, just like Drake needs to bake.
Yeah,
he needs to be better than Baker Mayfield today. This is, I think, an opportunity for him to show that progress that he's done every step of the way. Continue that today. This is going to come down to protection and pass protection. He needs to help out his offensive line a little bit. Tampa's getting after the passer. All rushes have been getting after Drake May as of late. So that's, to me, going to be the key to the game, is how well they're able to protect him. And I think it comes down to May himself.
Yeah.
And how does May, we've watched the last few weeks. Last week, Atlanta very hungry to get to Drake in the pocket. But what do you two think he needs to do in order to just really avoid getting blitzed so much?
Yeah. Well, I think it's tough because we had this philosophical conversation, what is a blitz really? Because
especially if
Atlanta only rushed 4 or 5 guys last week, so it wasn't these 6 and 7 man blitzes that he's reading. It's it's only really the difference of one guy. So for him, it goes to me just subtle steps in the pocket. By knowing you have that extra time. What we saw this summer was a Drake that was a little bit more like we saw in the second half last week, where it was as Evan likes to say, Evan Lazar, one and run. And he can't do that. There are guys open, and I think that if he has the confidence in his offensive line, sometimes it just feels like he gets sped up a little bit. I think that happens to a lot of young quarterbacks, so I don't think it's entirely out of the norm. I'd like to see the return this week, to Paul's point, of the cool, calm, collected Drake in the pocket who can take a subtle step to his right, get to his second read, and hit the open receiver.
I just like to see him throw the ball away a little bit. The whole
even taking sacks, right?
Numbers,
just get down sometimes.
The numbers are unbelievable, in terms of completion percentage. I'd be more than happy if it turned out to be, 65% instead of 75%, only instead of 6 sacks, it's 2 sacks. Just throw those balls away and live to fight another down. And I know that a lot of those sacks haven't been for big yardage, but I do think the cumulative effect of the hits eventually is going to have an impact.
For sure.
So, I'd just like to see some of that go down a little bit. But
that's my biggest concern. It's just the cumulative effect of the hits and how sustainable is this. But it's the kind of thing where last week you saw the strip sack, and it's a fine line you walk with a quarterback like this who's big and athletic and has confidence in his legs, and that we've seen him plenty of times get away from would-be tacklers this year. But you also have to know on that edge when it's time to, hey, get down. You're in risk of a turnover here, and this is the point in the game where it's still in the balance, and we really don't need a turnover. So. Look, the kid is still young, man. He has 22 starts right now. So, it's part of the process, but a little bit of a dip last week. Like to see it back on the up and up this week.
Yep.
Absolutely. So my key to the game, it's funny because technically this one should have been against Atlanta because Crime Mob is from Atlanta. So it's Knuck If You Buck, mainly playing off the Buccaneers. But really the song, if you know it, it's really based off of that gritty, square up if you're ready to fight. And I think this is going to be a fight for the Patriots this week, obviously on both sides of the ball. But we talk about they're running a 6-game win streak right now. They've proven that they can be a confident physical team under the coaching of Mike Vrabel. But this is going to be a battle of the trenches, I think. And we talk about the defense led by Vea and David. They've been stingy against the run. We talk about getting offensively started early, allowing just under 95 rushing yards per game. So offensively, what can you do to avoid that? But then also on the other end of the ball, just understanding what Baker Mayfield brings to the team and how their offense has been running smoothly as well. Both sides of the ball is going to be a gritty fight. So Knuck If You Buck, the Patriots need to really come out and be ready to fight this one.
Yeah, I like the fight. I do. I feel like this game is going to come down to a couple mistakes in the second half by one of the teams that is probably going to be what causes it. I would love to see the Patriots not turn the ball over today. I think on the road, it's such a big key. I think they have the pieces on defense to match up with what Mayfield has left offensively. But it's still just a great chance. This is a good team. This is a tough place to play. They're maybe not the pinnacle of the league right now, but they are a very solid team
it's a good test.
With a veteran quarterback, which is different than what we've seen, the last month. It's been all kind of first-year starters, rookie quarterbacks, that kind of thing. So get to see the Patriots defense go up with a quarterback with a little bit of savvy, admittedly missing a good chunk of his very good weapons. Bucky Irving's a guy we should mention too, who, without him, they're going to lean into Rashad White. Patriots run defense has been really good. So signs to me are pointing it's going to be a lot on Baker Mayfield, and can they force him into some mistakes?
Yeah, Mike and I kind of are envisioning more of a lower scoring game. A lot of people have talked about this being a shootout. I'd be surprised if they got say both teams got over 25, which to me represents shootout status. You know, once you start getting to the 30s, that's a high-scoring game. But I'm looking 24-20, 21-17, something like that. You know, and I agree with Mike. I think it's going to come down to a couple of plays late. This game could go either way.
So what exactly do the Patriots need to do to win this one? We're going to talk a little bit more about that after the break. Thanks for sticking around here on the Patriots Pregame Show, fueled by Dunkin'.
This Patriots Pregame Show is brought to you by Brunt Workwear. They make work boots and apparel that are built for the job site. Their gear is comfortable, durable, and named after the real workers in the trades that help design it. Save $10 on your first order at bruntworkwear.com/Pats or with coupon code PATS. And by Tostitos. Football fans know traditions matter. They're what inspire us to make masa in Tostitos the traditional way, starting with whole corn kernels. Discover your next tradition this football season. Head to the store, grab your Tostitos team bag, and scan the code for a chance to score an epic experience with the Patriots. Tostitos. Tradition matters.
The future with AI will twist and turn. Cisco is the critical infrastructure for the AI era, clearing your path to wide open possibility. Cisco.
It ain't my dad's razor, Dad.
Hey, watch it.
It's from Gillette Labs. This green bar releases trapped hairs from my face.
Game changer.
While the Flex, this contours to it. So the 5 blades can get virtually every hair in one stroke. For the ultimate Gillette shaving experience.
The best a man can get
is Gillette Labs.
It's the biggest deal in breakfast, Dunkin's $6 meal deal. You get a medium iced or hot coffee, bacon, egg, and cheese, and 6 toasty hash browns. Dunkin's $6 meal deal is back.
Let there be ideas too big to stay ideas, and the software to make them soar. Let there be anything. Autodesk.
This Patriots Pregame Show is brought to you by Bridgestone Tires. It's important to have confidence when on the road. With Bridgestone Tires on your car, truck, SUV, or minivan, you're riding on tires you can trust. They're engineered to give you peace of mind so you can focus on enjoying the journey. Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. Available now at Sullivan Tire.
Join the show by calling in at 855-PATS-500 or email at podcast@patriots.com. Now, back to the Patriots Pregame Show, fueled by Dunkin'.
Welcome back into the Patriots Pregame Show, fueled by Dunkin'. Before the break, we asked the question, what exactly do the Patriots need to do to win? So I pose it to you both, but also in the same vein, what matchups are you looking forward to in this one?
Yeah, I'd start with Travion Henderson and what kind of life they're able to get in the run game. I mean, I think Paul made a good point of it can't all be the Drake show a little bit. It needs to be, they need to round things out a little bit, and it's not easy when you're missing arguably, your 2 best weapons this season. So I'd like to see what they're able to get going in that run game. Are they, do they test the middle of the field with Terrell Jennings, try to get some movement inside, or do they, do what they did last week and have kind of a game plan specific approach? So, for me, it starts with that and just trying to take some of the pressure off of Drake. I just, you love that he's like an MVP candidate, but at the same time, MVP candidates are the ones doing it all themselves without the extra parts to really help them along the way. So, I don't have high expectations that they're going to find like a second gear in this particular game, but if they somehow were able to find that and not have to lean on Drake, it's not going to come down, well, all right, Drake, it's all on you today. I think that'd be a great sign for this team going forward.
The inactives were, most of the meaningful inactives were already announced on Friday.
Yeah.
We know about the Patriots, but there's an important one on the Bucs side that hasn't really been talked about. That's Hassan Reddick. And, all those sacks that the Bucs have been racking up, 15 in the last 3 games, that's their best pass rusher, and he's not part of this equation. I do think that's the key matchup that I would have my eye on, is the ability for that Patriots offensive line to give Drake enough time. But I think that's an issue. When you give up 6 sacks in consecutive games, the other team that you're playing's got 15 sacks in their last 3, no fewer than 4 in any of those 3 games. So it's not like they had 10 in one game, and it skews the numbers. It was like 6, 4, and 5 or something like that. That's going to be a key. If the Patriots get sacked constantly in this game, it's going to be hard to maintain any kind of offensive continuity.
Absolutely. So we're getting calls, we're getting emails as usual. But before we do that, we do want to remind you that there are a lot of sponsors that keep this show running. And one of them is Pepsi. Game day is here, so stock up now. Grab a refreshing Pepsi Zero Sugar 12-pack now because tailgating deserves better. And that being said, let's get into our favorite caller, well, most consistent caller, Patty in Agawam. How are you? We don't pick favorites.
I'm nobody's.
No, that's for sure, Patty. I don't have favorites.
So I just wanted to go over a couple of things. For me, like the biggest matchup has to be Stephon Diggs against the Bucs secondary because, much like the last big game that we played this year, I think if you want to have any sort of downfield game, it has to go through Diggs, just because he's our best receiver. He's probably our most consistent and our most experienced guy. To ask Williams to have a big game downfield, I think is asking a little bit too much for a rookie. Spotlighting as probably like getting the most snaps that he's going to have in a game this season. Paul, you talked about spots during the week, and to me, I think this is a good spot for the Pats because you look at the injury report. The Bucs are super banged up, and I think a sneaky, low-key thing that's flying under the radar is Baker with his oblique injury. And the last game that we saw him play,
he's not even on the injury report anymore, though. I don't think that's a factor. That's an injury that he had before the bye, and I think he might come out and play a terrible game today. I don't think it's going to be because of any injuries. He's had 2 weeks to rest. I agree with you, Patty, that there's been a lot of focus, and rightly so. I mean, we focus on our local team, the Patriots, and they have 3 guys, 3 starters that are out, but there's been very little focus on the amount of Bucs injuries. But I feel like they've dealt with that all year. They've had a lot of injuries all season. They haven't really been healthy for most of the year. The difference being the Patriots are just starting to deal with that, and Jonathan Taylor looks like he just took one about 80 yards to put the Colts ahead with about 6 minutes left. And as a great high school announcer once said, and there ain't no flags. 83 yards to be exact.
My last thing is I love Mike's key to the game. We can't just be great at stopping the run. At some point, like the Buffalo game, we have to see the marriage of the pass rush and the secondary, kind of congeal and work as one, because it hasn't been great. It hasn't been consistent so far this year. And I think even with this banged up Bucs offensive crew, I think if the Bucs were fully healthy, I would definitely pick them to win. But with all the guys being out, I just think we're catching the Bucs at the right time. And Paul, it always works out for the Pats.
Yeah, I love your point there,
Thanks,
Patty. The coverage and the rush. I think that's something that's been lacking. I think Vrabel sort of alluded to it. They've had times where they've rushed it reasonably well, and they've had times where they've covered it reasonably well, and they haven't seemed to been able to do that together. I think that is a good key to the game.
Yeah, it's one of those things where the stats point one direction, but when you watch the games and you have a feel for the games, it just feels like quarterbacks are not uncomfortable with this defense when they throw the ball.
Running backs are uncomfortable, but quarterbacks are not.
Quarterbacks just seem, even when there's solid pressure rate and all that kind of, stat mumbo jumbo, it never feels like they're not, forcing a lot of takeaways. It just seems like the young quarterbacks, and maybe that's a function of they're more content over the last month to play zone against these guys and sit back and challenge them to execute consistently without mistakes. But what we've seen is that they have been able to execute consistently, and the games have maybe been a little bit, more close than you would think. So love to see that. I also just like to, you mentioned Diggs, and, Jamel Dean is really having a great season too. Somebody who, 3 interceptions in the last 5 games, 2 forced fumbles in the last 5 games. He's a really active cornerback. So, keep an eye out for him on Stephon Diggs.
So I want to ask the key question that I can't believe Mike hasn't even brought up yet as we get our look at the warm-ups. You're all blue, Mike? Are you okay?
Strange on the road.
Are you okay? Are you all right?
Well, Paul, they wore these against Buffalo on the road.
Are you
with the
okay?
big win, so
I like those numbers.
When they win, you like any uniform works for me when they're winning.
Exactly. Yeah, we have a live look right now. Drake May on the field. Josh McDaniels just had a little chat with him ahead of this one. We got an email from Kakar in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Kakar With Booty out, what's more likely? We talked about this a little bit already. Pop Douglas has his best game as a Patriot again, which was last week, obviously. Or Kyle Williams has an average wide receiver game. Average game is not objective, but you know it when you see it.
Yeah,
is what he said.
Kyle Williams having an average game, picking up a couple catches. You know,
I would say Pop Douglas having another another big game would be more likely. Which one of those two things is more likely?
Well, more likely.
I would say Douglas.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, up next we have another email related. Kyle Williams breakout from Steven in Fort Drum, New York. So I'm calling it now. Kyle Williams will catch a 30-plus pass game for a TD. He's overdue with Booty out. Now's his day to get started with no complicated go route. So it seems like the consensus.
Yeah, no, he's gonna,
sure.
he'll get an opportunity today, and
breakout though,
and that's what you hope for. This is, players talk about it all the time. I remember Tom Brady talking about, when I got my chance, I wasn't gonna let go of it. So this is how the NFL works. You get an opportunity to get out there and show what you can do, and maybe it is Kyle Williams today. He gets out there, and the chemistry is better with him and Drake May, and you start to get excited about what's next year going to hold for Kyle Williams. What kind of role can he continue to grow into? But I love his speed, and I think it's something that they really need. And I'd love to just not so much the deep pass. I'd love to just see him catch a little slant and then just take off.
Yeah.
That's something that I think is missing a little bit from this Patriots offense, is the run after catch ability. Not going to lie, I've seen Kendrick Bourne a couple times this year, and I'm like, Kendrick was here. There's a couple plays here and there where you're like, man, Kendrick Bourne's pretty good with the ball in his hands. Like to see a little bit more.
But you're right that Kyle Williams will get some opportunities today, and I wouldn't be surprised if he came away with a few catches.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just
not
kind
big
of
expectations, but
I'm not telling you he's gonna catch 8 for $150 and 3 touchdowns, but I think he's gonna have an opportunity to make some plays today, and the way that Drake has been sort of spreading it around.
You never know.
Yeah, I mean, I would be shocked if he didn't at least get a couple of opportunities.
Shout out to our camera crew in Tampa Bay. Every time we mention someone, they find them on the screen. Kyle Williams, just doing some drills with the other receivers there. All right, let's get back to the calls. Nate is in Connecticut. Hi, Nate.
Hey, can you guys hear me well?
Yes.
Hey, Nate.
Sound good.
So, my opinion or my thought for the game is a big key that's going to help us a lot, I think, is us being very aggressive, considering Tampa, they're a really good team, and considering, we're a good team. It's just we're a couple levels below Tampa, in my opinion, I believe.
What?
I
Come on.
Yeah. Well, I'm being honest here.
Okay.
And I think we're probably going to have to I wouldn't say rely, but I think we're going to probably have to ask Mike Vrabel or Josh McDaniels, draw something up, or, be more aggressive out there, take a couple more deep shots, go for it on fourth down more often. Not saying that we haven't gone for it a lot, just, this is a good game that, we got to do a lot to come out with the win. But that's what I think.
Yeah.
Thanks, Nate.
It's a good team. I'm excited for the game today.
This is not like Buffalo. Like, they went to Buffalo and they were like clearly underdogs. This is kind of a toss-up game.
Yeah.
And maybe Patty's right. Maybe that's because of all the guys that Tampa's missing and the personnel. Maybe at full strength, we wouldn't be looking at it the same way. But I don't look at Tampa as being a significant step up from the Patriots. I don't.
No, it's a big difference if it was Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and Bucky Irving. I mean, that's 3 pieces.
Yeah.
Of course, I mean, Evans is out for the year after a big injury a couple weeks ago, but. Yeah, I mean, you just wonder somehow they are always finding receivers down there. I mean, we didn't even talk about like Jalen McMillan, like waiting, he's hurt too. I mean, they seem to really pay attention to always making sure that position group is stocked, even though they've been leading on Evans and Godwin for the past 6-7 years.
So Chad in Atlanta has the same sentiment. He says, part of me is tempering my expectations, thinking things are too good to be true this season and preparing for a loss today. However, there's another part of me that sees the Bucs are not 100% healthy, and that's gassing me up to be as obnoxious as possible after this easy win. But like he asked, should we temper expectations, or is this real?
Well, no, enjoy it as long as you can.
Yeah, exactly. Take it week to week.
But no, I'll say something. I mean, look, I know each year is its own year, and we've had a couple different coaches here over the last couple of years. But, one characteristic of this team really going back since the year after they won the Super Bowl is a team that kind of fades down the stretch. So, I don't think that that's crazy to say. You look at some of the matchups they've had earlier in the season, that it's going to be a harder grind here in November and December. In these last 8 games, you're really kind of at the halfway point right now. But would love to see a Patriots team start to really play their best football at the end of the year. It hasn't happened the last few years. I mean, really, again, going back to 2019 when after that Baltimore loss, it felt like they really kind of lost their mojo. So it'd be great to see them not – I don't want to come out of the season and feel like, yeah, it was great when, that October and, end of September stretch where they were racking up wins against young quarterbacks and then when you got to have to face Mayfield and Josh Allen again and Lamar, and then it didn't look quite so good. So I hope that this team is continuing to build, and we haven't seen the best yet. Is what I'm hoping.
And we're looking at Diggs right now. We talked about, last week.
We're looking at Matt Collins' abs.
And
my God.
Just ripped abs, by the way. But with Diggs specifically, what are you two looking for? We talk about every week about whether or not they should settle the expectation for him or get him more reps. But what are you hoping in this one?
I think, Paul's had some good points this week of, there is, I think, an element of managing him a little bit. And, without Booty, you do look a little bit more toward Diggs in the key moments. But you don't want to over-rely on him and let teams key on him. So I don't know. I'd love to see like another big Diggs game. And, I think he's at his best when he's really involved.
I think it's another one of the points that Patty made when he called. And I could see it. They might need to lean on him a little more. Like you said, without Booty, it could be anybody. They've shown the ability to have a different guy sort of lead the way. Hollins did it a couple of weeks ago. Douglas did it last week. I think in a bigger game on the road, the guy that I would have the most confidence in would be Stephon Diggs.
Sure.
Yeah.
He's been their most reliable guy. Now, lately, it's been, smaller doses. 3 catches, I think, in 4 of the last 5 games. 3 catches each. In those games, I think today they might need him a little more than that.
Yeah. Definitely in the third down, the got to have it moments. Those are the plays. If I was any opponent of the Patriots, I would be saying, third down,
keep your eye on
we
him.
got to know where Diggs is. And, maybe they put somebody like Jamel Dean on him.
And hopefully after last week, he's hungry as well for that energy in this one. All right. Well.
Oh, Falcons have moved into the red zone, in case anybody's wondering.
Oh, of course.
2-minute
we're
warning.
very curious.
They're going to have a 1st and 10 at the 19, down by 5 because the Colts missed their second extra point of the day.
I mean, it is funny now because, in the past couple of years, it's not only the Patriots aren't really winning games, but it's also you don't really care as much about the other games. And now, you're a little more invested in to see how the teams like the Colts are doing.
I mean, I don't really care how the seeding, unfolds when you have 8 games to play. But the Colts right now have the number 1 seed in the AFC. They're in danger of losing, which is a game that if you look on paper, they have no right being in danger of losing. With 440 yards of total offense, and they suddenly find themselves with the other team with the ball with 2 minutes left, needing a touchdown to take the lead, all because of sloppiness and bad kicking by the Colts. But you have a chance to be the number 1 seed. The worst, if you can win the game, you're going to stay tied at the top with Denver because Denver won their game already. And tiebreakers are different, depending on what happens around the league, strength of victory and all that kind of stuff. But now the Falcons are inside the 10. They're going to have 1st and goal from about the 8. Plenty of time. If I were the Colts, I'd let them score, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And just have the ball and have a chance to go down and either get a tying field goal if Atlanta gets the 2 or a winning field goal if they miss the 2 because they're going to go for 2 after
They would
this.
go for that. That's what I was going to ask you. You're going to go for 2 if you're Atlanta?
Yeah. I mean, it would be 23-22. You go for 2 to try to make it 3.
So I know we joke a lot about you watching Red Zone during these games, but I think this
I have
one's
an
very
uncanny ability.
I know, of course, but I think this is actually pretty relevant. You talk about if Indy is able to win, they get that number 1 seed in the AFC, but also the Patriots right behind them right now at this point in the standings. So what do you two make of not only the fact that the Pats are so high up in the rankings, but like you said, we have to actually keep our eyes on these other games too.
A little bit. I don't make much of it yet. I mean, it's fun to at least feel still invested and involved, but so much is going to happen.
Yeah.
Like we're literally, I know there's 17 games now, but I used to like it when it was 8-8 and 16, and so 8 games left to go. Patriots are going to have 2 games in the next 4 days here, so. They're certainly going to make some. We're going to learn a lot more about this team over the next week or so. But it's just fun to be in the mix. That to me right now is what it's all about, and being able to still look at the scoreboard and care and look at division battles and be interested to see how Buffalo does and the rest of the AFC. But Patriots have a great opportunity over the next 4 or 5 days to. I mean, geez, to think you could get 2 wins and get to 9 and you've got a winning season already. So I don't want to get ahead of yourselves, but. it just makes it more fun. It's more fun when you're interested to watch the Patriots go against another team. It's interesting to watch the results of the other AFC teams as it comes down here to the nitty gritty for the Colts. So, yeah, that's where I'm at, and I'm check in about week 15. Then we'll really start locking in on playoff seeding and what could possibly be. Because right now, look, there's so much parity in the league.
Seriously,
and, it's not like maybe past years where the Colts or the Chiefs were undefeated at the top and et cetera, et cetera.
Any man's game. All right, I'm looking at the call lines, and one location I did not expect to see is Haiti. So we're going to take it from Ralph, who's in Haiti right now.
Ooh.
Oh.
Hey, Ralph.
Hi, Ralph.
Hey, guys, you guys don't know the palms I had to grease to get the connection to get to you guys.
I'm shook. Thanks for calling in.
Listen, man, I got the hottest take that you guys haven't heard.
Okay.
You know, the more things change, the more they stay the same. The last time a team had a losing record and then went on a run like this with a similar fashion where they were 2-2 at the first 4 weeks of the season was the 2001 Patriots. And then we went straight to the Super Bowl. I'm seeing a lot of similarities right now, even though the strength of schedule helps us a lot. But I like the dream.
There we go. Well, thanks for calling in, Ralph.
Thanks, Ralph.
I appreciate y'all. Y'all pray for my country, all right? Because we're going through it right now.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
I'm with you.
Sure.
My parents were born in Haiti as well, so that
there you go.
Yeah. So I was like, what?
Did you know Ralph at all?
No, I don't know Ralph. That's why I was shook.
So everybody that calls from California, we ask if Mike knows him.
So now I know everyone from Haiti.
I wasn't aware of the Haitian Patriots fan club.
Yeah,
but,
now we have
sign him up.
That's amazing.
The Haitian sensation, Ralph.
Hey.
Love it.
All right, Brian's in Phoenix. Let's see what he has to say.
And there it is.
And they get the 2, so
there
now
we go.
Now
Hi,
Badgley
Brian.
can miss the field goal to tie the game.
Exactly.
Oh, yes. Yes. This is Brian from Phoenix. I'm disappointed as far as the Patriots fans saying that if Tampa Bay was fully loaded, we wouldn't have a chance. They said the same thing about Buffalo, and we went into their home and beat them. So I'm kind of disappointed in that. But I think the keys for the game is just make Baker think. Make him where he's not comfortable. We definitely need the defense to step up. And as far as Drake May, just do what you do. Don't force anything. See what the defense is giving you and take it. And I think we can win this game.
Of course they can win the game. It's a toss-up. It's a 2.5-point spread.
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, and I mean, even with those guys, I don't know I'd necessarily give them no chance to play, but...
Well, I'd have to see it. But they haven't, like, those guys haven't played. Like, if they were playing and Tampa was rolling, then I might think about this game differently. Tampa has it. I know Tampa's 6-2. They're not rolling.
No,
like,
not the last 2 weeks.
Not all year. Like, they needed, like, a game-winning drive in the last 30 seconds, like, 4 times in the first 4 wins. Like, they're not rolling. But I haven't seen them fully loaded. I haven't seen them with all their players. Godwin hasn't hardly played at all.
Whack-a-mole.
Jalen McMillan has been on the Colts big kick return. 49-yard kick return for the Colts, which is going to, sort of almost set them up shop almost already in field goal range. But they'll need the field goal only ties it because Atlanta did get the 2-point conversion. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think the Patriots have no chance to win a game over Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is still Tampa Bay. Mm-hmm. They're not one of the elite teams in the league. They're a good team.
Yeah.
Tampa's a good team. They're not a great team.
Yeah.
I don't look at the Patriots as not being able to line up and play with the Bucs. I mean, maybe I'm being obnoxiously arrogant with that. I don't feel like Tampa's that kind of team.
No.
I feel you. Miles is Atlanta. What do you think, Miles?
Miles?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
We're good.
I just wanted to say I love your show. I'm a Patriot fan. I'm from Providence, Rhode Island. I wanted to mention Paul Perillo. When I was in my first year in college at the University of Rhode Island, I did an interview with you. You were one of the first people I ever interviewed as a journalism student, and I just wanted to say hi and thank you again for that.
Stop it. That's great.
Thanks, Miles. I actually did a college interview with a young lady from North Dakota State just this week. So, yeah, I mean,
wow.
I'm hoping things are going better for you than me in the business, Miles. But I appreciate you giving me a shout out.
Stop it.
Yeah, Shane Donaldson, one of my URI professors, connected me with you.
Professors.
That was
Shane O'Mac, one of the all-time greats. Shane used to work here, Kwani, with the Patriots, and he was part of all these shows. Most famous in 2001 at the Super Bowl for falling asleep on the air.
Interesting.
Hitting his head on the microphone.
Very impressive.
Yes, and that's a professor molding and shaping the young minds of journalists today.
Miles, thanks so much for the call.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I was gonna say this is a game I just really want to see the defense step up. You know, the missed tackles. I want to see them get to the quarterback and get some turnovers and really take over the game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good opportunity for them. Good, it's going against the quarterback. We haven't really seen it since Aaron Rodgers. Was that the last time we've actually seen a quarterback with some experience? Josh Allen. I'm sorry.
Josh Allen.
But those two really. I mean, Geno Smith in there in that mix too. But it's just a good chance to see where this defense is at. And I agree. Like we've been talking about, there's just something missing for me. I don't know. I'm like, well, the real defense, please stand up. I don't know. Maybe they are really good. I definitely believe in their run defense.
The run defense, yeah.
That's
They've
hard.
made a believer out of me on the run defense, no question.
But I think as we'll all agree, the passing game that you need to shut down. You need to get sacks. I mean, they've talked about them only having 20 sacks this year, which isn't terrible, but just the lack of finish. Some of the key moments they've had that finish, but like to see it a little bit more consistently. Love to just see them again get quarterbacks out of their comfort zone.
All right, let's get to one more before we get to our favorite part of the show. Lennox in Springfield. Hello.
Yes, hello. I believe it's going to be a very pass-heavy type of game. We're definitely going to need Milton Williams, Tonga. Those big boys are definitely going to need to get to Baker. Otherwise, he's just going to be letting that ball fly all over the field. Both teams aren't really great at running the ball, but our run defense holds up. Not really worried about their Bucky Irvin or anything like that. But overall, it's probably going to be a very pass-heavy game.
Worried about Bucky Irvin today.
Drake May, maybe 250, 260, maybe 270. Who knows? I think his yards are probably going to be up there. But, yeah, it's going to be an exciting one. But I think we're going to be able to pull it out. They got too many injuries for us not to be able to really, take over there in Tampa Bay. So, go Pats. Love the show.
Thanks, Lennox.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lennox.
260. I might need to change our over-unders here before we get into them.
I think he's going to have to throw because I don't think the Patriots are going to have a great day running the ball. You could see some Henderson, edge stuff, but I can't imagine they're going to be able to pile up a lot of yards. I don't know what Drake May is going to run for. I'm talking about running back yards.
Yeah. Feels like one of those games where it's like the short passing game is the run game. It's some of that kind of stuff. It's not just drop back, hand it off, and run into the wall. But, yeah, we'll see. I mean, you're shorthanded without having Ramondre Stevenson. So these are the games you worried about. Talked about early in the season. They don't have a lot of running back depth. Gibson goes out. Now Stevenson's out. Can you survive another game with just Travion Henderson and, Terrell Jennings, who's been primarily a practice squad player for his first year and a half in the league?
Exactly. All right, well, this over-unders are, I say, our favorite segment, my favorite segment at least. For Patriots fans this month, you can celebrate Veterans Day with a new snowblower from Aaron's during their Heroes and Holiday Sales event. Now through December 3rd, you can save $100 on select models this winter. Let the King of Snow help to clear your driveway so you have more time to support your team. Aaron's, the official snowblower of the New England Patriots. Visit www.aarons.com to find your errands. Paul, you might need to get one of those so you have to clean up less snow when we get it.
I have my snowblower.
You
I'm
got
all
one?
set.
Oh, okay,
I'm all
okay.
set.
I was going to get you one.
So
now I know what not to get them.
Last week, everybody went 4-2.
All right.
So,
Look at us, guys.
the standings don't really move very much. Kwani, 34-20. Mike, 32-22. Paul, 24-30.
We need a sound drop for you. Nice.
Wah, wah, wah. So, Kwani maintains her lead. Mike,
I do.
it's time for you to do something
Getting
about it.
competitive.
On account of, I think
The people are
I've been
counting on
mathematically
you.
eliminated, so I really can't do anything about it.
All right, so first up this week, of course, we have Drake May passing yards. Right now, the line's at 247.5 yards. But again, we could change it to 260 if we like.
I like that number. I'm gonna go over on that one. But I think that's a good number.
I think I'm going over as well.
Yeah, I'm going to take the over this week because of the, I think, the lack of the running game. I think it's going to have to be on Drake May.
And so on the opposite end of the ball for the Patriots, Baker Mayfield, passing yards 243.5. Can this defense stifle Baker today? Is the question.
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say he throws for 243. 244 or more.
Nice.
So
Okay.
I'm going to take the over.
I think I'm going to take the over as well. It looks like both of these, I think these two quarterbacks are pretty comfortable today.
I'm with you guys. I think there'll be a lot of passing yards today. I'm gonna
My
go with
same
Baker.
theory applies to Tampa. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball against the Patriots, so it's going to be on Baker Mayfield.
Right. Okay, up next, we have Hunter Henry, receiving yards, 36.5. This is a good one.
You, Kwani.
Yeah, last week we had some
lead the way
tight end action. Let's see. I'm gonna go with the. Oh my God, I'm gonna go with the under on this one. I don't know if Henry's gonna get that much.
It's tough because with this team, I feel like you're always just kind of rolling the dice because it could be a hooper game.
Right.
But I think Hunter Henry's too consistent. I'm gonna go over with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to take the over on that as well.
This will be.
I like. Yeah, I mean, Henry has been a reliable guy. You're missing Booty.
Yep.
Someone. We mentioned Diggs. I think Henry also. Some of the old reliables. And the Colts, by the way, tied the game with 25 seconds to go.
We'll see how it ends. All right, up next, shortest field goal made, 27.5 yards.
Back to me. That's a weird one.
That's an interesting one. Shortest.
So I don't really understand this.
I guess the
that
length
means the
of the
shortest field goal is going to be longer than 20.
That has to be.
I'm going to go over on this
So,
one. I'm going to say the shortest field goal is longer than 27.5 yards.
Okay, so that's how we do it.
What if
Then
no
yeah.
field goals are made? Does that mean it's 0
The
yards?
shortest
that's a great
field goal,
question,
I'm going to
actually.
say over.
Yeah, I'm going to say over as well. I feel like they all usually.
Matt, you're getting crazy on these.
They hate us. He had his hands in the air.
The longest short field goal.
In the middle of the
half.
field. All right, total New England points, 23 and a
If
half.
it's on DraftKings, it's a thing.
Well, I didn't say it wasn't a thing. I just didn't understand it. It's a complicated proposal, and I really didn't understand it.
Shoot. All right, I guess that's Paul. You're up on the
What?
total. Total New England points.
I'm going to take
2023?
the under.
Under.
New England under.
I'm going to take the, New England. That's New England.
These are just the New England points.
Yeah, I took the under.
Okay.
I'm going to take the over.
If it was the total score at 23.5, I think I would have taken over on that.
Fair enough. I'll take the over on that one.
I'm taking the over. Finally, total score, 48 and a half. Dang, if I took the over on that, then it has to be. I'm going to have to take the over on this as well for the sake of New England.
Yeah, I'm on the over on this one too.
And I will take the under on that as well. I do not think this is going to be a shootout.
We'll see. This is the defining moment in
Well,
our
I'm in
over
last
under
place, so I don't think
history.
there's
No,
much
that's what I'm
to
saying.
see.
I'm saying
You
it
can
over
see
under.
me at the bottom of the standings every week.
Or you might jump to the top based off of these.
No.
Oh, not that far up the top. Okay. Next up, before we close the show, the Sunday six pack.
This is the Sunday six pack, so kick back and listen to my position. I'm itching to get the picks back. You better bring a big stack. Get it mixed, Jack. I came to win it, yeah. This is the Sunday six pack.
And the Sunday Six Pack is brought to you by the Massachusetts 250 campaign, commemorating a history of possibility. Plan your revolutionary weekend at Massachusetts250.org. All right, Paul, how did we do last week in this one?
Oh, let's go to that page. So we also last
graphics.
week we were all the same. Everybody was 2 and 4.
Oh my
So it was not a good week
gosh.
for the six pack. Everybody finished 2 and 4. That means Kwani is 28 and 22. Mike is
Barely.
24 and 26, and Poopy Pants is 21 and 29. 21 and 29. I stink.
It's okay.
It's tough. It's not easy to do.
It's not easy to be great. So first up, Giants at the Chicago Bears. Chicago with 4.5.
Yeah, that sounds like a good number. I know Chicago's been a little inconsistent, but I think they're playing better lately. I am going to take the Bears.
Paul.
I am going to take Chicago as well. I think that they are. I don't think they're quite there as. I mean, they're 5 and 3. Looks like they're a good team. I don't think they're quite there yet. But at home against the Giants, I think that they have enough. I think Caleb Williams is starting to sort of buy in a little bit to the Ben Johnson stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Chicago.
I'm going to take Chicago. No, you know what? I'm going to take the Giants. Sorry. I'm going to take the Giants for the sake of
Your fandom?
giving them something. No, the fandom, I don't even know if it really
Jackson
is.
Dart?
For Jackson, for the Jackson Dart Eye. Up next, we have the Cleveland Browns at the New York Jets. Cleveland with 1.5.
Oh, Paul's game of the week right here.
Yeah, this is as bad as it gets in the NFL this year. I'm going to take Cleveland. No real reason why. Just someone's got to win.
Mm-hmm. You said Cleveland?
Yeah. I'm a little worried about the new coach adjacent bump when you lose all your good players. You send them all out in the trade deadline. It's kind of like, firing your coach. Maybe they get a bump, but I'm going to take Cleveland.
That's fair.
Is there any science behind that one?
No, none
No
whatsoever.
Shoot, I'm gonna go Cleveland too. I
think it's 3 for
Jets
3.
are gonna.
Yeah. We're on the same page here.
Yeah.
All three of us. All right, up next, Buffalo at Miami. Buffalo with 9.5. I think this kind of might be a common sense one. I'm going to take Buffalo.
Yeah, I'm with you on Buffalo. I think Miami not looking good, offloading guys. Yeah, Buffalo.
Yeah, I'm going to take Buffalo too, but this is a lot of points in a division game. Road division.
In Miami?
Road division game, but I'm going to take Buffalo.
That's fair. All right, up next, Baltimore Ravens at the Minnesota Vikings. Baltimore with 3.5. That's a good one.
Ooh.
I'll take the Vikings at home.
Vikings at home. J.J. McCarthy.
I am going to take Baltimore. I think they're in the process of climbing out of that grave that they built for themselves early on, and I think this is a big one for them on the road against Minnesota. Vikings coming off a huge win last week. This is a big game for the Ravens.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Ravens.
Yeah, I'm with Paul. It feels like an inevitability that Lamar Jackson is going to round in form. They're going to start playing better. Their defense has been playing better. I'm going to take the Ravens over JJ.
Here we go. All righty. LA, the Rams at San Francisco. The Rams 5.5.
Ooh, Mac Jones. Mac Jones time. Keeping it rolling.
It's a big spread again on the road in a division game. And we always talk about the NFC West stuff, Mike. Shanahan owns McVay. However, I'm still going to take the Rams.
I'm going to get crazy. I'm going 49ers. Underdogs at home. Just dump it off. Give it to Christian McCaffrey. Make magic happen.
I don't think Mac's that good.
Well,
we know that you always thought that way, Fred.
Oh, man, this is a good one. I'm going to take 49ers at home as well.
This is how I end up in the basement.
We'll see. We'll see. You might be right with
climb
this
out
one.
of it, Paul.
No, but it just never happens that way, Mike.
You can change if you like. Finally, best for last, New England Patriots at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay with 2.5. New England, the underdog.
I guess I'll lead us off. I'm going to go with the Patriots on this one. I think it's going to be a really close game, though. I think, like Paul said, coin flip game, mistake down at the end. Who's going to make it? That kind of game. But I'm going to have the Patriots. I'm going to stick with what I said earlier this week. Patriots, another 1-point win, 28-27.
Yeah, I could see this game going either way. I do think that the spot, Patty and I differ a little bit. I think Bucs coming off a bye week, had a chance to rest a little bit, and they're at home. Patriots sort of in a long stretch here. I think they shortened some practice times a little bit this week. I think they're starting to feel a little of the wear and tear. I think this is a tough spot for the Patriots. I'm not saying the Patriots can't win because I would not even bat an eye if the Patriots went down there and won. I don't think Tampa's all that good. I think they're good, not great. Very similar teams. I'm going to take Tampa 24-20.
There we go. All right, so we do have to close out on
Who are you taking?
Oh, sorry. I thought it was
Is this how you get in first place?
No,
you just don't
New
make
England.
picks?
It's funny. I think I'm New England.
Okay.
Until they prove otherwise. Every week I've been picking them, so I just assumed that my answer was locked in.
Just real quick to
Good catch,
bit
though.
of news.
Thank you,
Paul
Mike.
Tagliabue passed away, a longtime NFL commissioner. You're seeing if you're watching on video.
The age of
announcement,
84.
84 years old. Of course, when I grew up, all the footballs that I bought, when I bought the NFL, they had the Paul Tagliabue signature written on it. So obviously was a huge part of the NFL and making the NFL into what it became. after his tenure and then into Roger Goodell's. But that's that's definitely a pro football titan right there, Paul Tagliabue.
Absolutely. 17 years as the league commissioner, but also to the point that you just made, the cause of death was heart failure complicated by Parkinson's, as we can see Adam Schefter reported earlier today. So
yeah, he was an important commissioner at the time of a lot of labor strife, sort of, ushering in the free agency era.
Yeah.
I think he was more of a lawyer background than a football background, and I think he was instrumental in helping in that regard. But yeah, it's a pretty important guy in NFL history.
Absolutely.
Paul Tagliabue.
Absolutely.
Thoughts with his family.
Yeah.
Before we close out, we're gonna close out. It's time to end the show. So thank you. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, we got some
Misheard
calls.
that. We're gonna take some calls before we go. So we're gonna go down to North Carolina, where Eldred is.
Hey, fellas, how you doing, Tommy?
Hey.
Y'all doing all right?
What's up, B?
Hey, two things. There's only two things worrying me, okay? And then if I see that in the first part of half of the game, I'll be okay. Our line and our backs against their blitzes, and our linebackers and our safeties, because they're going to target the middle of the field. You know they're going to do that, right?
Yeah, I think both of those things are concerns.
Yeah.
Cade Otton's a guy we haven't really mentioned in the show. I think that he would be a concern against those linebackers and safeties across the middle of the field, and that's a guy that Baker Mayfield leans on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if we can get Henderson on outside, those halfbacks in the flats or whatever, because that's what they have a problem with. But I tied in across the middle, Davis and Leal, they're still good, linebackers. And I'll take it up the air, and y'all have a good one. And go Pat.
Thanks,
Go
Big E.
Pats. Thank you. All right, let's go to Lewis in Florida.
Hey, ladies and gents, thank you for having me. Long-time listener, appreciate everything you guys do every season. So just a question and your thoughts on who has a bigger point to prove for just kind of putting the league on notice. Is it the offense or the defense? Given that there's a lot of commotion, right? That New England's back. Who has the bigger point to prove? And I'll take it offline. Thanks, guys. Go Pats.
That's an interesting question. I mean, I lean the defense. I would say the defense. I just said, I think that Drake May is pretty good. I don't know a lot else about the offense, and I don't know how much more you really can learn about the offense this year. But I have questions about the defense, especially against good quarterback like Baker Mayfield, and I just, like I said, the stats tell one story, eyes tell you a little bit of a different story. But this is an opportunity today to show that you're maybe a little bit better than some of the DVOA ranking might tell you what they are.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really get the question, like who has more. I mean,
yeah.
It doesn't feel like a high stake. It doesn't feel like a high stakes game to you.
No.
So, yeah.
I mean, to me, it's just the next game on the schedule.
Yeah.
I don't really. I mean, I don't know. Offense, defense. I think they just want to. This is going to sound lame, like I'm taking Mike Vrabel. This is what I got accused of on the Sports Hub this week. I'm just taking like Mike Vrabel's messages, and I'm trying to, it's just the next game. Like you're just trying to stack days and improve, keep getting better, keep improving. I think that's what they should be focused on right now, is just trying to get better, and it's another opportunity. Yeah, it's a bigger. I mean, it's a tougher opponent than what you've seen the last month. It's not Cleveland, it's not Tennessee, it's not Atlanta. But it ain't Buffalo either, and it ain't Baltimore that you're going to be seeing in a few weeks. So, just keep playing well, keep stacking days, keep improving.
Yeah.
And I know the league.
Both sides of the ball.
Absolutely. The league generally preaches the excuse mentality, but one thing I did want to pose before we go, last week the Bucs did get their bye week. The Patriots on the other end preparing for a very short week against the Jets on Thursday. So what role do you foresee that, if any, playing in this matchup today?
Suck it up. Just suck it up over the next 5 days. And nobody loves the Thursday night game as an NFL player. It's hard on you, but you will get a little bit of a break next weekend, and then the schedule gets a little weird with Monday Night Football. So they've been kind of stuck in this grind. I think we feel it too. The 1 p.m. games over and over again.
We're not even playing.
Don't ever call Sunday at 1 a grind, Mike.
Well, I mean, you know what I mean. It's just
as God is intended.
Sunday
at 1.
Where, you're on the treadmill right now, and it's gonna break up a little bit coming up. So if they can just suck it up and again somehow find a way to squeeze out 2 more wins and get to 9 wins before the break, that's pretty impressive. But it's you just wonder, are the Patriots tired? Are the Bucs rusty? You never know what the storyline is for teams coming out of the bye or teams that haven't had the bye yet.
I definitely feel that way. Then I think that's the way that Mike has sort of been talking to the team. Is it's you got to fight through it. We are on that treadmill right now, and the bye's not really close. Still another still another 3 or 4 weeks away.
Yeah.
So this is time. You got to. I think that's why he shortened practices a little bit this week. I think he tried to lighten the load a little bit.
Yeah.
They're fighting through it.
And they will keep doing that. We're going to see how they do in Tampa Bay. We'll be right back here after the game to give you all the recap and analysis and, of course, post-game locker room sound as well. For Paul Perillo and Mike Dussault, I'm Kwani Lunis. Thank you for tuning in to the Patriots pregame show fueled by Dunkin'.
Hey, this is Alex. Thanks for tuning into the show. If you really want to help us, make sure you like us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Also, make sure you follow us on the New England Patriots YouTube channel to see this show and everything else we do here at the Patriots. Thanks a lot.